Yo, what up? Welcome to the next installment of Replay Analysis. Replay Analysis. Replay Analysis. And today we're looking at SC11 versus Sicko. Priority is going to be on SC11. And this is a gold league game. So let's, without further ado, let's jump into it. Let's see what's going on. We're probably going to be talking about macro. Spoiler alert. But yeah. We'll see what's going on with Mr. 11, see how we can help him figure out what he's doing like Zipupu and how to fix it and make it better. See, that's already a mistake right there. SC11, this is exactly why you're going to have problems in StarCraft. Larva needs to be respected, and you're not respecting it all right now. You're not respecting your larva. Larva is like food for a human being. Larva to Zerg is like food for a human. And what you just did right here is you basically just said, I'm not going to eat for a week. Fuck it. I'm not going to drink water or eat food for a week. I'm not going to do anything. And it kills you, right? And that's exactly what's happening right now. You're going to die because you're not spending your larva. Now, I imagine you're going to spend it soon. And this is the problem with a lot of players in lower league, because they always I guarantee you might be thinking, raise your hand if you're thinking this. Vibe, we're 14 seconds in the game. Is this really that big of a deal? Is it really that important? Yes, it is. And the better you get at this game, the more you will realize that. It's fucking insanely important, because if you fuck up at the start of the game, your whole game is fucked up, and you never get that time back. And what StarCraft is in the macro phase of the game is this is so think about it like this, okay? I feel like a lower level player in StarCraft 2 thinks about the game like this. My goal is I want to go for roaches this game, and they like scratch their chin, right? And they're like, roaches sound good.
Love your V2 GM for Terran. I'm up to masters, but you stopped your videos. My dream was to kill Muta with Marines in GM.
Thank you, Cyril. Much love. Thank you. Appreciate you, man. So like a lower level player is going to be like, you know, I feel like doing a play style, or I'm going to do Vibes Beta GM series, whatever. They just have a general idea in their mind, right? And that's what they think about. It's really not min-maxing anything. It's just an overall big picture mindset. Or I want to do that build. But now a higher level player thinks about StarCraft 2 in a different way. And a higher level player in StarCraft 2 thinks about StarCraft 2 in a way that is like this. Not only do they also have an idea what they want to do with their game, like the big picture of whatever build they're going to go for, but they also know for a fact that you want to make as little mistakes as possible early game, because all StarCraft 2 is, in the first like 4 to 5 minutes of the game is that it is whoever makes less mistakes over that period of time is more likely going to be the one who comes out ahead and wins the game. It's just another word for, it's another way to explain efficiency. StarCraft 2 is a game about making as little mistakes as you can, but everyone's going to make mistakes at some point in time or another. Everybody does. This game is impossible to play perfect. There is too much shit you have to do to play it perfectly. And anyone who thinks that anyone can, no one even fucking comes close to playing StarCraft 2 perfectly ever. It's like impossible for a human being that has a human body and a brain and hands and a mouse and keyboard. You cannot play the game perfectly. It's fucking impossible, because there is so many things you have to do all the time. And anyone out there who's a smart ass and thinks that, yes, you can vibe, you can't. You want to know why you can't? Because you are limited by one screen. You are literally limited by what is on your screen, and what this screen represents is only like 5% of the entire map. Or maybe like 3% of the entire map. It is not 100% of the map with 100% active control of everything perfectly the entire time. So all that happens is the more the game develops, the more mistakes you're going to make. Everybody fucking makes mistakes. It's about making as little of them as you can. It's about trying to prevent them from happening as much as possible, even though they're going to happen. But this is a very easy to avoid. Now, am I going to say everyone makes a mistake in the first 14 seconds of the game, though? Fuck no, because in the first 14 seconds of the game, nothing's happening. You actually are only on one screen so far. So this is why you really need to not be making mistakes already at this point, because all it does when you do that is it slows the pace down that you're going to have going into the mid game. So this is super important to not mess up. And again, anyone who doesn't understand why it's super important, here's why. When you have 3 larvae on a hatchery, you stop generating larvae. Your hatchery ceases to generate. And there's no speed up mechanic. There is no speed up mechanic for for larva automation generation. And anyone out there is like, what about larva inject, vibe? Larva inject is its own thing. It's another way Zerg generates larva. But larva automation, all that's happening right now is every second that goes by, you lose larva that you never get back. They don't just give it to you later.
Oh, yeah.
You just don't get it anymore. This is a mistake that can't be rectified.
La
So-
la 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 blah 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 is all I remember.
Thanks, Justice Noobs. I'm going to mute my alerts for a little bit. Thank you. I appreciate the tier 2 3 months. Thanks, dude. So you made an overlord at 15 seconds in the game. That's super fucking late, right? Now, you made your first drone at 1 second in the game. That's perfect. That's really good. But your overlord could have been started, right? Now, at 12 seconds. And then you would not larva cap because your last larva just spawned and you instantly spend it and you don't larva cap. And then you have the difference of time of not having a larva get fucked up, which is all this means now is that all your larva for the rest of the game now is it's especially important early too when you're setting up your build like this. You're forever now 3 seconds behind. And every second at the start of the game is more impactful than every second later on in the game in terms of how you develop your build. Like this is these 3 seconds right now. Yes, it's only 3 seconds right now. You could argue that this 3 seconds right now would be worth like 15 seconds when you're at like 5 minutes. Imagine at 5 minutes in the game just going like this, like taking your hands off your mouse and keyboard for 15 fucking seconds and going, I'm not doing anything. And then going, okay, let's start playing again. And the reason why it works like that is because, again, every second at the start of the game is so much more impactful than every second as it goes beyond. Because if you haven't made any mistakes up to 5 minutes, if you make a mistake for 3 seconds on your larva, then it's way less impactful then than it is now. It's so fucking important now. Again, it's a game about making as little mistakes as possible as much as you can. And it's really easy to not make mistakes early on in the game. And you're doing it again right now. You're not making a drone now. There we go. Your drone was started when you had like 90 minerals or so. You got to get faster. The biggest tip I can give you, anyone out there, don't be the guy that makes something when you can do it. Don't be the guy that just goes select overlord, select drone. Do not be that guy. Do not do that. If you do that, you're going to forever be a slow player and you're going to forever have problems like this. Be the guy instead that goes like this. This is what you should be doing when your game starts. Make drone. Okay. Split drone, whatever. Make sure drones are good. Not enough minerals, overlord. 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 Oh, overlord just got made. Okay. Not enough minerals, drone. Not enough minerals, drone. Not enough minerals, drone. Not enough minerals, drone. Drone just got made. You need to play like that. Now, do you have to do it like fucking 400 APM like you're a pro gamer? Not necessarily, but at least try to do it. Because, again, second 17 is when the drone is ready to start. After the overlord was delayed as well. And after the larva was capped out for a while. And now, the drone could be made at 17 seconds. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. The drone gets made at 22 seconds. That is 5 fucking seconds of not even touching the keyboard. That is really, really, really not great. Because just go SD, SD, SD. You can do that within doesn't even take 1 second to do that. I could literally hit SD probably like 7 times each in 1 second. And do I expect you to do that? No. You don't have to hit that much. But at least do it maybe once every 2 seconds or once a second. It's just something that you need to train your subconscious to macro more. This is the big reason why I tell you to do it as well. It's not because number one, it's really important because you want to be able to spin your shit right as you have it, really quickly. That's a big deal that you need to be able to do. But another big thing is that you should actually be macroing with your subconscious, not with your conscious brain. You should be thinking about the game with your conscious brain. And then you should be macroing with your build that you do every fucking game with your subconscious. It's literally like saying this. When you wake up in the morning and you think, what do I got to do today? Do you go, okay, I need to fucking like be able to move my body. I need to be able to blink my eyes. I need to be able to breathe through my fucking nose so I can actually inhale properly. And then I need to not forget to exhale so I don't explode. And then I need to also, you know, hear noises. You don't think about any of that. It's all automated. It's all fucking automated, right? Automated reflexes. It's just like part of existing, essentially. Your brain automatically does it. It's not something you think about. Instead, what you're thinking about is, fuck, what time is it? Oh, I gotta not be late for something. Or I'm hungry. Maybe, what should I eat today? Or, like, you know, what route am I going to take to work today? Or, you know, what am I going to study at school today? Who am I going to talk to today? What happened yesterday? What made me upset yesterday? Or what did I really like yesterday? You think about other shit. They're not even related to it. That's the same thing what StarCraft should be like for you. You should think about, like, what you're going to do with your units. You should think about what you're going to do with, fucking, you know, what your strategy is going to be. What's your build going to be like? You should be thinking about the big picture during the game, and you shouldn't have to think about little tasks, even because it should be so fucking automated. It should all be automated. So if you're not even making it an automated task and you're asserting brain power to be like, make drone, oh, I have enough money to do that, because you do it only once and that's it. That's why whenever you have a player that's like, I don't understand. Whenever I watch a pro game and I watch them do this, like, what the fuck are they doing? Why are they clicking their drones so much? I don't get it. What the hell is this? You know what that player is doing that's doing this? They don't even know they're doing it. They're literally not even thinking about it. They are just doing it because it's a habit and it's automated. And you know what? You know why they're also doing it? It's because they're practicing their fucking mouse green box micro. Like if I tell you click 4 drones and you try to click 4 drones really fast, you don't go like this. Okay, 4 drones you say? All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Got it. No, you don't. You just go 4. Like, you know, do it faster. Blah, blah, blah. Like, it's just automated. So, it's something that you need to just, everybody needs to do. Everybody needs to do this. And this is going to be something that, the reason why I'm stressing on it so hard right now is because you're already fucking this up in the first 20 seconds of the game. SC11, I'm sorry, but you're fucking it up multiple times in the first 20 seconds of the game, right? And I imagine it's going to continue to happen repeatedly over the whole game. Like, it's not something that's going to go away. It's something that's going to be around for the entire time. So it's going to constantly fuck you over more and more. It's only going to fuck you over even more as time goes on. That was good. Nice overlord, or nice drone making there at that point. Made a hatchery. See, like that was another example too, right? It's gonna happen over and over and over and over and over. Another example is because your droning was a little late. Here, this is where when a higher level player will understand this, and a lower level player won't really fully realize this. But every time you make a mistake, it makes more mistakes that carry on throughout the game. And here's a mistake that you're having. This drone right now, if you timed your drones properly, should be arriving here right now, right as you get 300 minerals. Realistically. And your drone gets 300 minerals as you're right here. So your build, even if you did this perfectly from now on, you're already behind by 3 seconds or so because your drone has to run to the middle and then stop and then come down to like burrow into the ground almost as it builds the building, and then it starts the building. And it would take about 3 seconds for it to go from here to there to start the hatchery. And your larva was behind, which is why this is behind right now. And if you fuck this up any more on top of that, you're going to be even more behind again. Whenever you fall behind, it cascades repeatedly throughout the game. So, and now we'll see what happens, right? Your drone comes to a stop, and now you're even further behind again on top of that. And then it stops for not that long, just like 1 second. But now look at when you're throwing your hatchery down. You're throwing your hatchery down at 345 minerals instead of 300. Like this should have been started 45 minerals ago. And it's another mistake that is happening, and it's only within the first minute of the game. And it's going to keep happening. And this is again why if anyone who ever wonders when someone says just macro better, this is exactly what they're talking about. You need to be on top of it early, because if you can't handle the early game like this and it's not automated for you yet, fucking the late game is only going to be 10 times harder on top of that. And the reason, and it makes, and don't think about it in the way where I'm just like, the late game is going to be harder because all the mistakes you made early game. Or, that's an easy way to think about it. But realistically, the better your early game is, the more relaxing the late game feels. Think about this now. Think about like a game like Mario Kart. This is going to be an easy example a lot of people can understand. Think about a game like Mario Kart. And now let's just say hypothetically, you have to do a racetrack in 3 laps. And let's say each time you do a lap, 1/4 of the track gets covered in fucking banana peels. So because like as the game gets longer and longer, people get more shit going on, right? So you do your first lap, there's like nothing going on. It's like you're like in first place or whatever, and let's just say no one's attacking you, and you're just having a smooth sailing lap the first time. And then when you go around the course the second time, the second lap, every fucking other turn there's like a banana peel, and you gotta like dodge the banana peels constantly. And let's say on your third final lap, there's not only a banana peel on every single turn now. Sometimes there's like multiple banana peels on every turn. And you're like, God damn, I gotta fucking bob and weave through all these banana peels. And let's just say, on average, it takes you about 1 minute per lap. So, and you only have 3 minutes to finish the whole track. Because you're supposed to do 1 minute per lap, and you have 3 minutes to finish the track, otherwise you fail. And let's just say, hypothetically, it takes you 90 seconds to do your first lap. Because you're just like bumping into fucking walls repeatedly, and you're like, all right, let's turn it a little bit to the right or the left. I'm not drifting at all. I'm not playing the game how you're supposed to play it. I'm just fucking around. And let's say the second lap you do it a little bit better, but still you're a little bit behind. Let's say it takes you 1 minute and 10 seconds. So it's supposed to be like 1 minute per lap, and it took you 90 seconds and then 1 minute and 10 seconds. And now in total, you're at 1 minute and 40. You've spent 2 minutes and 40 seconds on the track, and you have 20 seconds to finish the third lap. You know how fucking hard that third lap's going to be? You have 20 seconds to finish a lap that's supposed to take you on average 1 minute. Not only that, you also have all these banana peels on the track that you have to avoid, and it's like fucking impossible. This is the same thing in StarCraft 2. When you have a really weak early game that gives you no fucking time to do anything late game. If your macro early game is fucking terrible and it suffers for no reason other than you just don't hit your buttons, and you just don't play the game how you're supposed to play the game, essentially. And that now, when you should be at a place where you would have been at like 10 minutes, but now you're there at like 13 minutes, suddenly now at that point, it's so much harder to fucking spread creep. It's so much harder to scout properly. It's so much harder to expand properly. It's so much harder to have time to fucking inject your bases. Because you feel like your opponent is just shoving like a fucking knife down your throat repeatedly. And you're like, fuck, stop. I can't do anything anymore. Everything is overwhelming. But if you actually had now let's go back to the Mario Kart example and go, what if you actually, with the first track, what if you did it really well and you're drifting your turns repeatedly, you're doing a good job, and you did the first track that normally takes people on average 1 minute, and say you do it in 45 seconds. And let's say the second time you do a track, or the second lap you take, let's say you do that one, you nail it as well, you do it really well, and you do that one in 50 seconds. And now in total, you have 25 seconds on top of 1 minute left to do your final track. So you have 1 minute and 25 seconds to do your last lap that is going to be the hardest, but you have more time than the average of what it takes. So you've set up an early game that's given you an easier to work with late game. No longer, it's not like you have 20 seconds left to do it. Now you have 1 minute and 25. It's fucking really, 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 really important to understand this, because nobody at low league in StarCraft fucking understands this, because everyone who fucking figures this out gets out of low league. Everybody figures this out at some point, sooner or later. And when you do, you stop being low league because you start learning how to prioritize efficiency. People always freak out in my chat every time I do these explanations, and they're like, Jesus Christ, Vibe talks for so long about early game. Can we just move on? And it's like, bro, this is fucking actually important. And if you don't think it is, you're going to be the fucking guy who's gold league for life. You will be the guy who never gets to fucking diamond if you think that what I'm saying is not important. And like that's another one right there. Another example right there. It's going to happen repeatedly all game. So you take a hatchery, right? You take your hatchery at 345 minerals, correct? And now look at the larva. Larva sitting there. You could be making a drone right now. 2 larvae sitting there. Like, this had better be going for a pool, right? You'd better be going for a spawning pool right now. Otherwise, this is just another example of inefficiency. You're wasting time, essentially. You have 150 minerals in the bank. 180 minerals in the bank. 185 in the bank. 190 in the bank. And then you make 2 drones. You had 205 minerals in the bank, and you decided to make 2 drones now. And you also are you were, at least you didn't larva cap, because you're seconds from larva capping again right now. But this is exactly what we're like. Again, that was so much time since you built the hatchery. You built the hatchery 11 seconds ago, and you just started these units 0.5 seconds ago. So that means realistically you spent like 10.5 seconds not even touching your keyboard. It needs to be automated. You need to be fucking automated, automatically just doing it, like breathing. And now, you're basing like your pool and your gas off of these drones, essentially. And it's just delayed again. Everything is delayed. So you throw your pool and gas down when you had 280 minerals. Because 225 plus 55 is 280. And that's what these cost. This is 25, this is 200. So you had 280 minerals when you threw these buildings down. That is very late. And again, it's not just one thing. It's fucking... This is already like 6 things up to this point in this game now. Also, if you're doing BetaGM series, you're taking your gas way too fast. This is a speedling build opener. And if you're going speedlings in Gold Lake, good luck. It's even harder. We'll talk about it when we get there, but yeah. I don't recommend speedlings for players in Gold. It just makes your life harder. Because the reason why is because speedlings require you to scout and be multitasking to be effective. If you make lings for the purpose of just standing in your base and sitting there and doing nothing, you might as well be going roaches. Yeah, you're doing a speedling build. So here's okay. I would say this. This replay analysis is gonna take fucking forever if I break down how to do a proper speedling build. And I would say I've already done this like 4 times. And I'm gonna give you the same information I would give them as well. So if you really want to see a proper speedling build, I've done diamond and master's level replay analysis or coaching lessons for people to learn how to do a proper speedling build, especially versus Terran, because this is the most common one that it's used against. So I would say if you want to see those, literally go to my stream right now and type in this right here. Go to my stream and type in ! coaching. And that is it that? Hold on, I'm gonna do it myself. Is it, or is that linking the prices? Or just joking. Type in coach. It's just coach, right? It's coach. Yeah, we'll say it's coach because I'm gonna make the command right now. I thought I had it, but for some reason I don't have it. But I can make it in 2 seconds, and I'm gonna do it right now during this analysis. Starcraft coaching. Copy this fucking replay or this list right here, and and now, if you type in coach, what's going to happen is it's going to link you to a list here that looks like this. Okay? And here you can literally find what you're looking for. Like, for instance, you can type in, you can search it, speedling. It go... Vibe, coaching, diamond, ZvT, talking about a solid speedling opener and how it branches. This is fucking perfect. Go watch that video right now. Go watch that video. If you want more info to give you more non-repetitive info, go fucking watch that video. It's free and it'll help you break down. I'll reference things, but I'm not gonna fully break them down because again, this would be like a 3-hour fucking lesson then, because I do it all there too. But I'll talk about a lot of shit in here that will reference things from this, but we'll carry on and talk about it and see what you're fully going to do, because I don't even know if you're going to fully go for that. It looks like you are, though. But first things first, right? If you're going to go for like a speedling expand, you shouldn't be double injecting your hatcheries. If you double inject your hatcheries, that's more set up for an all-in. You should be guarding your fucking third base with creep, because if you don't do that, you open yourself up to getting fucked over by Terran. Now, disclaimer alert, I'm going to say this one more time. You shouldn't be doing this in Gold League. If you want to have genuine improvement at the game, this is way above Gold League skill level. Fucking way above Gold League. Like, this is hard for Diamond players to even do properly. Again, it's fine. I'll continue with it. I just want you to know that I don't approve of what you're doing here. I'm like a doctor telling you to not fucking go run a marathon when you just broke both your legs and you're in fucking rehab. And the fact that you're going creep per second is okay, but you should have done it first, because your third base is going to be more exposed for longer now, and it opens you up to things like your drones dying at your third base. Because look, your natural's already fully saturated, right? Now what are you going to do? Are you going to keep making drones? If you keep making drones, what are you going to do with them? You're going to send them to your third base? How are you going to defend that? You have no queen coverage at all. So your third base would just get fucking destroyed. The third base itself probably wouldn't die, but your drones would. So that's scary. But if you had a second tumor already, instead of just the first one, your creep would already be like down to right here instead of right there. And you'd have a tumor right there as well. That's about ready to spread, again, like right here. And you'd have queens that can actually now defend both bases. Also, if you're going to do this properly, you need more than one overlord. You need an overlord there. Honestly, with the way you expanded, you need an overlord here, 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 and here. Because you want your queens always in the front. Again, I'm referencing things that you're going to see in the other video. You do not want to use your lings to defend. You want to use your queens to defend. Lings are a secondary defense. You also need to use your queens more. The queens are just fucking standing there. Like, you are so open to being attacked by Hellions and shit right now. And this is why this build's hard. It's a lot of multitasking that needs to happen for you. Okay. You're taking your gases a little bit too fast, I would say. You're taking 4 gases all at once. So there's 2 problems with your build right now. Number 1 is your main gas that has 1 drone on it. You should have resaturated that back to 3 out of 3 as soon as your natural was fully saturated, before you started saturating your third base. The second problem is when you actually do explode your gas a bit more, ideally, you kind of want to maybe take only 3 gases instead of 4, and you want to start these gases around now rather than having them finish around now. Like, you're taking too much gas too fast, because think about this for a second. The only way you're going to saturate these gases properly now is if you rip off the mineral lines and you undersaturate your mineral lines on every base to have your gases rolling. And you don't want to do that. And if you don't do that, you just make gases that could have been drones mining minerals for longer that are just going to sit there for a while until you can eventually put drones in them. So, not ideal. And too early. You should be, like, just to throw it out there, again, resaturate your main gas when you're halfway, or when you're 2 base saturated fully, 16 out of 16, 16 out of 16, retake that gas now, like resaturate it, and then do not take your second and third gases until this base has roughly 10 drones on it. But you started these third gases, you started all 4 of these gases when your third base was like starting saturation. Like, look at when you start it. Watch when you start making the gases right here. Start it right now. You're starting your gases right now, and your third base has 5 drones, and your natural has 13. So realistically, if this was properly set up, think about this for a second. If this was properly set up, this should be 3 more drones here, and this should be 2 more drones here, and this should be about 10 drones here. And if you were to take drones away and go, all right, let's take 3 of these drones, put them back to this base, and now this is going to put this down to 2 out of 16 because we're fixing this mineral line here. And then if you take the last 2 here and put them on the gas to fix this to 3 out of 3 now, you'd be properly saturated with the main and the natural at this point, but then you'd be 10 fucking drones shy of where you should be because you're starting gas way before your proper saturation is set up. So you're taking your gas way too early. Way too fucking early. For the extra gases. And you're not using your queens like at all. Another tip I could give you is get comfortable using a hotkey for queens. Like you can leave. I don't know if you use my hotkey setup with main natural third, and if you do, that's wonderful because you can have camera hotkeys with one queen per hatchery that just sits there the whole time, and the queen itself doesn't need a hotkey if you have a camera hotkey, and you can inject your hatcheries with one queen per hatchery. But you need to have all these extra queens maybe on like group 2, and they need to be number 1 having overlord spotters so that whenever our enemy units try to attack you, you're always in position to guard your creep in the front and not have to use your lings to do that. And secondly, they should be constantly spreading creep timers with their energy, and you're just letting it build up and do nothing with it. So, big missed opportunities there. You could literally have like an extra 13 creep tumors right now that you don't have. Like active tumors. That's not even include. Like when I say 13 tumors, by the way, I'm talking about tumors like this. I'm not even talking about tumors like this that have already been spread. If you were actually using these queens properly throughout this game, and you made this many queens as an opener, you wouldn't have just like 13. You'd probably have like 19 more creep tumors already, or like 20 more tumors than you do. Because you would have spread so fucking many of them at so much at this point. So your creep at 5 minutes could literally be so much bigger than it is, essentially. Which is what you need to be doing if you're doing a style like this. And you're not spinning your larva again. You have 9 larvae sitting there. You can't, again, and it's because you're like distracted. You're not paying attention. Things are going bad right now for you, and you're behind on supply. And this is rough because you're using an army that needs to not be behind in supply because you're using an army that is going to overwhelm your opponent. You're using Lingbane Queen, and you can't beat higher tech units with Lingbane Queen if you have less supply, unless your opponent is really bad. Like, you're going to have a bad time. You're doing an army that's cheap and massable. He's doing something similar. Like, his army is also somewhat cheap and massable, too. This is pure minerals right there for Hellion Marine. But he does have medevac incorporation to it. And he does have an armory, which is why he has Hell Bats. But, I mean, his army is also kind of like yours, too. It's also very cheap and massable. So, it's fine. But, yeah, you definitely should... what the point I'm trying to make here is you could 100% have more supply than you do right now. And also, your queen should be fucking helping here. Your queens aren't even helping at all. Looks like your third's gonna die. And I'm gonna tell you right now, if this happened to you in a game that was like Diamond Plus, you already lose the game. This is something you need to be able to look. Like, I'm going to tell you right now, you need to look at this situation. Like, I'm going to continue the replay, though. I'm not going to stop it here. But if this was a Diamond Plus game, most of the time, the game is over now. Like, you literally are fucking dead. Like, this is so much damage you're taking, and it is so hard to bounce back from this. And you're taking this damage for no reason. Literally no reason at all. Other than your macro is just flawed. You're taking 90 seconds to finish a 1 minute lap without any banana peels on the track. And then now, this is not a good time to attack him, I would say. And the reason why is because you have nothing to defend here anymore. Now, if he scans and kills your creep, then yeah, push him away. If you feel confident to do that. But if he does not scan and kill your creep, it's pointless to attack him right now, because it's not in your best interest to do this right now, because all you're doing is you're exposing your army further out away from your base. But if you wait longer, he gets closer to your base, which increases the reinforcement potential of your army, because you reinforce even closer to the fight right away. Also, you give yourself a ramp that you can engage on, where if he runs up the ramp with his army and he like is bottlenecked up and really tightly connected with his army, he's like really clumped up, and he's also deeper on creep that way, you can now chase him longer with Speedling and Baneling and have a higher chance to kill him. But if you start engaging him when he's on the edge of creep, or if he runs to the edge of creep, chances of you failing this go up like a lot. Okay, now he's coming closer, so I'm really glad you didn't run down and chase him. I'm glad you waited for him to come towards you. Because the only thing that happens is it's a positive. The more deep he goes in creep, the more likely you're going to win the fight. And now, finally, with this fight, you're using your queens. But you're using all of your queens. And you don't want to play that way. This is why I tell you. I'm going to reference it one more time and say, this build is not designed for Gold League. This build is fucking hard. It is actually a much harder form of Zerg. But again, I'm going to keep going with it because, I mean, this might be your idea of fun, is playing this build. You hate roaches. So obviously, I'm going to give you what you want. I'm going to tell you how to do this build more properly. But I want you to know you're taking the fucking... Like, it's like, imagine you're going skiing for the first time. And you have a green run, which is like beginner friendly. And then you have a friend that's been skiing for the last 10 years. And he goes, you want to go double black diamond? It's got like moguls and shit. And you're like, you know what? I don't even know how to properly stand up on these skis yet. But yeah, let's go fucking double black diamond. So you're doing to yourself. You're making it really hard. You're just making shit hard for yourself. And if you're all for that, if you're a masochist, that's fine. That's why I will continue. I mean, you might be. So like right here too, you need to be transfusing your queens to make them effective. And if you don't transfuse at all, queens become kind of shitty. There we go. There's a couple of transfuses. You're definitely not doing enough though. You're just not pushing buttons fast enough. Your queens actually should win this fight. They should have, but you've lost so many already with high energy. And now you will lose this fight because there was no micro there really. There's not enough micro. And it's a build that you have to micro with. There's no way around it. This is why I don't tell people to do it in lower leagues, because you have to micro. Okay, and then now you're in a position where everything is fucking random. You're just like, I don't want to die. I'm going to tell you, like, everything I've told you up to this point is valuable information, okay? Everything I have told you up to this point right now is very valuable information. But everything I tell you from this point on is fucking garbage. Genuinely. It's fucking garbage now. And the reason why is because if you ever let yourself get into this position, you should lose every game. Like, this is not a good position to play from. So, let me give you one more analogy. Let me give you an analogy. This is fucking real. We'll use a car analogy this time. Again, kind of like Mario Kart. But yeah, we'll use an actual real-life car example. Let's say you, as a person... You were supposed to go on, like, let's say you're like an Uber driver, or you're like a Lyft driver, or like a DoorDash driver, somebody who like delivers things, people or food or something. And let's just say you get in your car, and so far I've been coaching you how to do your job properly, and you're like talking about, you know, like, okay, well, what should I do with like, how should I use the app to like set my lists up, and how should I like use the Google Map situation? Like, is there any way to do this easier while I'm driving? And I teach you how to like set up a fucking map in your car while you're driving, and I teach you how to do your job efficiently, essentially. And then now I stop talking to you at this point, and you get in the car and you try to turn the car on, and then the car won't start because it doesn't have any fucking gas, and you're like, oh, I forgot to put gas in the car. And you're like, how do I do my job now if I don't have any gas? That's kind of where you're at right now. Like, everything I've told you is useful information, but now at this point in the game, you're basically driving a car that has no gas in it. Like, you should fucking die to everybody if you're in this position, because you've put yourself in such a shitty position at this point in the game now. This is like unwinnable. But let's keep talking about it again, and I just want you to know that. I want you to really stress everything I said before and not everything I'm about to say, because this is kind of like fucking, you're already fucked. Like, this is so avoidable as well. Now going from here, I only preface that because I really want you to know that that's actually how StarCraft works. It's not like a game where every second's just fine. If you make lots of mistakes early game, you're just fucking dead. But now at this point, here's why you're dead. Here's why you're dead. Number one, you did not spread your creep very well, so you didn't have a lot of room to work with. Number two, You didn't spend your larva very well, so your supply was lower than it should have been. Number 3, you completely sacrificed your investment on your third base, and you didn't even try to defend it. Number 4, you didn't micro your Queenling Bane at all, and you actually lost the fight after your third base died. And then finally, the final reason why I feel like you're super dead right now is because you also threw away every single queen, and you don't even have any queens injecting now. So you have literally no good larva explosions anymore. Like you trying to keep up with Terran now is going to be a real pain in the ass. And the fact that you're rebuilding them is nice, and this is why, again, a lot of people might not realize how big of a deal this is. Let's look at how long has passed since your last inject. Okay, there we go. We finally see one, right? Now let's watch. You injected your hatchery at... Inject pops off at 5:16. We're going on almost 2 minutes right now with no injects. Now 2 minutes. Okay, your next queen spawns at 7:44. Is it going to inject though? It does. So you inject at your hatchery at 7:46. You waited 2.5 minutes to inject your hatchery. 2.5 fucking minutes to inject your hatchery. And you want to know what that means? Let's multiply that. Let's not include your macro hatch. Let's multiply it by 3 because you're on 3 bases. You've had this base for a while too now. And theoretically, also your main base should have lived here. This base should have lived as well. But think about this for a second. If you generate 3 larvae every 30 seconds, and you're missing out on 5 injects because 30 goes into 2.5 minutes, 5 times. 1, 2, 1 minute, 3, 4, 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes is 5. 5 times 30 seconds is 2.5 minutes. So you're going to now take your 3 larvae and multiply it by 5 because it's 5 rounds of missed larvae. So you have 15 larvae that you've missed out on per hatchery times 3 again because you have 3 bases. You've missed out on 45 fucking larvae, which is 45 supply of stuff. Just from 5 minutes and 16 seconds to right now. Because you stopped using your queens. That is not even including your automated larva, which is if it's capped out as well at any point in time because you're not macroing. That's another way you're losing larva there because it doesn't generate anymore when you have 3. Like, this is fucking huge. You need to make sure you don't stop doing things like that. You need to make sure that even while under pressure, you're able to go inject, 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 make units. Inject, 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 make units. That has to continue to happen during a fight because if it stops happening during a fight, the chances of you dying only go really fucking high. Like, through the fucking roof high. Which is why, again, I'll reference it one more time. I recommend roach builds for people in Gold League because trying to micro Ling Bane and manage your mechanics of Zerg are really hard. And now you're making spines, which I feel like this is just like a nail in the coffin for you because think about it like this. This is something that you need to understand as well. Anybody who decides when they're behind in the game to go, all right, let's just start making static D now. If you are behind and then on top of that, you're going to fortify your position in how you're behind, you are going to most likely die. And the reason why that makes sense is because you run out of money in your bases. You're already about to run out of mineral patches in your main, and your natural will shortly follow. Yes, this patch has 50 fucking minerals left in it. Like, your patches are going to start disappearing. So if you fortify your position of your bases that are already starting to deplete their patches, and you have no map presence, no map control, all your opponent has to do if he identifies that you're doing this is contain you and never let you expand again, and you will never be able to keep up with him throughout the game, ever. So making static D when you're behind is a very risky thing to do. It's very scary. It only makes sense if you can 100% confirm that they're all in as fuck. And nothing about this guy's playstyle has told you that he's all in. He attacked you with a army that was very mineral focused. And if someone has an army that is very mineral focused, there's a very good chance they have a lot of minerals in the bank. And if they have a lot of minerals in the bank, they're probably expanding. And he very likely could have a third base. And he has a fourth command center on the way. His army had literally 200 gas invested into it, realistically. And the reason why I know that is because he had 1 medevac and hellbats. So 1 unit cost gas, which was 100 gas for the medevac. And then he had hellbats, which means he had to make an armory, which is also 100 gas. So if you put 100 gas for the armory, 100 gas for the medevac, 200 gas in total. The rest of his army was Hellion Marine, which is mineral, no gas. So this is a scary position. And I know you're only making strategy because you're like, well, I don't want to die though, Vibe. What, should I just fucking die instead? No, this is why I'm saying this is like a losing position. Because if you're getting behind, why? That's what you need to really focus on. Why am I getting behind in the first place? And then secondly, if I am behind, is making static D a good idea? And if you're at a higher level of gameplay, fuck no, it's not a good idea. Definitely not. It's only a good idea if your opponent is the one who needs to kill you, because if he doesn't kill you, he will die. Like if you had 80 fucking drones right now, to him having 48 SCVs and he was being really aggressive, and you were like, shit, I need some static D because he's so aggressive and I need to just make sure I don't break here, then that's fine. I'm okay with it then. Then it makes sense. But if you're behind an economy and you also make static D, you just guarantee you're going to be behind an economy forever. Unless your opponent also fucking makes mistakes throughout the game, which people do all the time. But I'm telling you right now, this is a mistake. You're making a mistake right now. You don't make static D when you're behind, because you just guarantee you just stay behind forever that way. Let me just say it like this. The only fucking way it ever would make sense. There is one time it would actually make sense to make spine crawlers when you're behind a Zerg. There is one time it would make sense. And that's if you said to yourself, fuck making lings. I'm done making queens. I'm only making like maybe 1 queen for injecting, or sorry, 1 queen for creep spread, and then 1 queen per hatchery to inject. If that, like, you know, you're not going to make mass queens again or something like that. And you're just going to forego all ground units. You're just like, no, fuck making an army. I'm not making any Lingbane. I'm just going to go 100% Mutalisk right now. I'm going to try to, like, take a risk by making nothing but Mutas. And maybe the Mutas can get me back in the game with a lot of fancy micro. And then in the meantime, while I'm trying to make Mutas, I'll just make drones and spines. Then that would be okay. Because you're taking a risk that is calculated. And it has a gas-focused investment with your army. But if you're going to make more Lingbane and spines, it doesn't make any fucking sense. It like makes no sense at all. Because it just guarantees you're going to be super far behind the whole time. You also need to expand a bit faster, I would say. Like, take more bases quicker. Because, again, you're doing a style that is very larva expensive. So, I understand the process of having more hatcheries. But you're macro hatching, again, when you're mining your bases out. You're going to have so much... Like, if you act... I'm going to tell you right now. You don't actually... The way you're mining your hatcheries, the way you're mining your economy, you don't actually need macro hatches. The only reason why you feel like you do is because your macro is improper. You're not actually making enough larva to use and then also spending your larva to spend your money. So you're having these money problems in the bank because you're just not macroing. And then you make macro hatches to make the difference, which I'm okay with in general. I'm okay with that. I'm not saying that's a bad idea, but I'm telling you right now that if you just don't spend your money properly and then you also make macro hatches and then you do it at like moments in the game where it's like 10 minutes later and you're already mining your fucking hatcheries out. This base is also 40 minerals on this patch. This base is on the verge of mining out as well very soon. You're going to have no money. And if you actually started injecting all your hatcheries properly, then you're going to have a situation where you have like 80 larvae and no money to spend any of it. So I would say you really need to expand faster. And that is also what Ling style should be doing. They're all about map control. Again, I'm going to reference it one more time and say I don't think you should be playing Ling styles if you actually want to play properly, if you want to play well for your league. This is a map control based style, and if you play a style that turtles, it completely defeats the purpose. Now, look what's happening. You have no money, right? And you're injecting all these hatcheries. Now look at your larva. You have 15 fucking larvae and counting. Now you have 18, 19, 16 again. You have no money. And you're making more static D on top of that. You're turtling so hard. 21 larvae. You're not balancing your economy at all right now. Like, you need more drones mining now at this point with this much larva production. Like, you honestly, to actually utilize double macro hatches, you would need to have like 80 fucking drones mining on actual real patches. And right now you have 63. And they're also somewhat inefficient around your base here and there. And this base is just now getting set up too, which is nice. But your build is behind, I would say, for sure, where it should be by a lot. And now let's see your larva again, right? You have 25. Your larva count's only going up at this point. Because you just can't spend it properly. Because you didn't expand enough to actual bases. And your queens are all... Like, your queens all just kind of chill in your main for too much. Like, you don't spread creep enough. You really just need one queen per hatchery. You just need one queen per hatchery. That's all it is. Like, for actual injecting purposes. Yeah, that was also like huge damage right there for you to absorb that. And then once you get attacked again, you stop using all injects again. You literally, every time you get attacked, you just completely forego all defense. So what you need to do, seriously, I'll say it one more time. Get in the habit of leaving one queen per hatchery and just leaving it there even if you get attacked. And hotkeying all of your queens that are not the one queen per hatchery and use them to go, hey, group 1, run over there, spread creep. Run over there, spread creep. Run over there, spread creep. And then if you get attacked, hey, group 1, come over here. Defend my base. You can't keep pulling queens off like this every time you get attacked. And then just not inject for like 2 minutes again or something. Like, again, if we calculated it and added it up, we'll watch this for a second. Okay, we'll do that. We'll watch the last time you inject this hatchery when your queens leave. So you did queue up some injects here because your queens leave and then you have more injects popping off. I mean, they left, so it's whatever. The inject pops off the hatchery at 1314. It's done. There's no more gray line here. 1314, it's gone. So from 1314, this hatchery is no longer being injected. And it's because you just got attacked by the battlecruisers, and it was annoying. So let's see now how long this goes by without any injects. From 1314 until when? Last time you did this, you missed 2.5 minutes. We're at 2.5 minutes right now. We're almost at the end of the replay. I don't think you ever injected again. No, you don't inject like ever again. And I know this guy's attacking you over the last like 6 minutes as well with shit, but you can't win if you just literally forego your mechanics of Zerg. You have to do them. And this is where macro comes in, right? You have to macro. So stop pulling your queens off your hatcheries if you want to give yourself any chance to win. And now if your opponent is doing something like this here, where again this I don't know what playstyle you're going for, and I'm not judging you. I feel like what you're doing is you're looking at like a game from like Lambo or like Cyril or Raynor or something, and you're going, I want to copy that guy's build. And you can't play like that in Gold League. Like, you can try, again, if you want to have fun and you want to try, I'm not opposed to that. You do whatever the fuck you want. But I mean, the only reason I'm being so hard on you is because I assume if you want replay analysis, you're literally wondering, why the fuck am I not winning games, right? Like, you're probably thinking to yourself, like, how do I get better, Vibe? You're doing a build that is way fucking above your skill level. Seriously, you are. You're doing a build that is hard for diamond players to handle. And a diamond player versus a gold player, a diamond player would fucking obliterate a gold player. It's not even close. So, it's just a hard build, first of all. Secondly, you got to think about what you're going up against and what you're dealing with. And you're dealing with a guy who's going for a little bit of a hybrid of ground and air. He's got battle cruisers now, and he's also got bio. And earlier he hit you with bio Hellbat. But I would say you really need to make a choice as to what you're going to go for. And right now, because you've gone into Lurker Den and because you've gone in full Hydra upgrades, and also you've gone into... Like, you're getting all 3 upgrades here, too. It's just all over... This build's just like all over the place. No point in getting melee right now. I don't understand the melee. I think you're getting it for Banelings. But again, think about it like this. Banelings? What are you getting Banelings for? Think about... Like, logically think about this for a second. Why are you making Banelings? You're making Banelings because you want to kill Marines, right? You're not making Banelings because you're like, they're really good against siege tanks. You are not making Banelings because you're like, well, I need them for Marauders. I need them for fucking Thors. I need them for air units. You're literally making Banelings for the purpose of killing Marines. And you want to know something? A Baneling can 2-shot a Marine with 0 weapon upgrades, regardless of armor upgrades for Terran. It 2-shots a Marine every time, no matter what. And these are numbers you need to start understanding that are breakpoints. A Baneling with no weapon upgrades does 35 damage AoE to light units. That's how much damage a Baneling does to a Marine. Now, a Marine has 55 hit points. And 2 Banelings is 70 damage because 35 times 2 equals 70. So 70 is greater than 55. And what if Terran has maxed armor and you have no weapon upgrades? Well, guess what? It's going to be 32 damage AoE to light because it's 3 armor off of 35. And 32 times 2 is 64. And 64 is greater than 55. You don't need weapon upgrades to kill Marines. Is the point I'm trying to make here. You don't fucking need it. And it's a waste that you're getting it right now. If your purpose is to go for Lingbane Hydra. Secondly, another reason why I would say it's also kind of questionable to go for Baneling or for melee upgrades right now is because you're going into Lurkers now with a Hive. So I feel like Lurkers not only do you not need weapon upgrades to kill Marines with Banelings, but you also have Lurker transition looking like what you're going into now, which can completely replace Banelings as a whole. You can just go Lurker Hydra instead of Lingbane Hydra. And you can have like Ling support Lurker Hydra, but you could just go like Lurker Hydra Ling instead of Lingbane Hydra Lurker altogether. Now, if you wanted to go all 4 of those units, that's okay. I'm not opposed to that. But again, it's the same purpose. A Baneling still 2 shots, an SCV and a Marine. It's still 2 shots, all of it. And that's what you're killing it for. So it doesn't really, yes, melee upgrades are good overall, but for the purpose you're using it for this game, you don't even need it. You're not going mass Lingbane into like Ultra or some shit. So you're like, your Lings aren't really your focus of your army. It's like Hydras are the focus of your army. So you need to really make sure you prioritize that. And then now coming back, why is this important though, Vibe? Why the fuck are we even talking about this? Because you're fighting against a hybrid army and you've picked a choice of your army. You've picked Hydras. You did not make a Spire. You went double Evo Chamber upgrades with Hydroden with upgrades of Hydra. So you should be making more Hydras now because your opponent's going for BCs. And if you honestly just went, okay, well, I will go 100% Hydras now with good macro, you would win this fucking game. 100%, I think you would win this game with good macro and just Hydras. No diversity in your... No Lurkers, no Banes, no Roaches, no fucking Zerglings. Nothing. Just Hydras and good drum count. I think you'd win. as long as your macro was able to be done properly, like you're injecting your hatcheries properly and shit like that. Because again, this is Gold League, and compositions in Gold League don't fucking matter. Because everybody plays inefficient. If you ever have a game that goes, okay, well at 13 minutes in the game, both players are at 120 supply. Neither one of those players should ever win against someone who plays efficient. Because someone who plays efficient could be at 120 supply at minute number 7.5. Like, fucking seriously. You could be at this supply so much faster. Like, minute 8. You could be at this supply so much fucking faster than 13 minutes. And if either one of you would have macroed earlier better, like when the Hellbat timing hit you, you could have shut those attacks from either side down so hard if either one of you macroed properly. Because you would have had just more when they got there, like a lot more. And the reason why you're having macro problems is because of all the reasons we've already talked about. Like shit like this, you just don't inject when you get annoyed. Like when you get harassed, you just stop injecting. You don't even ever do it anymore. Wait, Vibe, is 35 correct? 35 is correct. 35 is what a Baneling does to a light armored unit. Light armor. Yeah, and then now, I mean, you are going mass hydras now, and now he's floating off the edge of the map, and this is annoying for you, right? But now, the problem you're having now is that you're stuck defending your base the entire game, and it's for things like we talked about earlier, like you're making static D and shit when you're already behind, and you're just filling in a bunch of static D on top of that. You're only guaranteeing you're going to be on defense the entire game if you play this way. Ling styles are styles that need to have map presence and map control. And you played this game completely defensive, so you didn't even play the style properly. This is why I'm saying Ling styles are hard to fucking do. Like, macro aside, you didn't even play the style how you're supposed to play it. And again, if you do play it how you're supposed to play it, take the difficulty of how this game felt and multiply it by 2. Because now you got more shit to worry about on top of everything else, again, on that. You got to worry about finding holes in your opponent's base and harassing them whenever you can. And having flawless scouting. Like, it's fucking hard to do this build. The only thing I could honestly say at this position, if you're in a position like this, and your opponent's like, ha ha ha, I have BCs over fucking airspace, you have no choice but to use spellcasters. Or corruptors. You have to do one or the other. You have to make an air unit, or you have to make spellcasters. And if you have mass hydras, you have to make spellcasters. There is no choice. The only way you should be able to win the game right now, and again, I want you to understand this. I'm gonna touch this one more time because I don't want you to get the wrong idea here. Your early game is really the answer to this because you should never get in this position in the first place. If your opponent tries to go BCs, what you want to be happening is he's trying to defend his supposed third base while you're breaking it with mass hydras and he doesn't have enough units to stop you. That is what's supposed to be happening if your macro is good. But if your macro has slipped up or you fucked the game up in some way and you're super behind now, and this is the position you find yourself in, this is not how it's supposed to go for you because you're going for mass hydras, he's going for mass battlecruisers. There's a massive difference there in what these units cost and how long they take to make. You can make this army in literally 30 seconds. He can make this army in literally 5 minutes. So it's a completely different dynamic. And it means you've made many mistakes to allow yourself to get in this position. And if you do find yourself in this position, the best thing you can do for yourself if you have mass hydras is make Viper and abduct him into your hydras. But that is hard to micro. But it is the only fucking answer you have now if you're in this position. But again, I want you to know that getting into this position is already a negative in itself. It's not supposed to happen. There's not much you can do at this point. You're just so far behind. So you just die. Like, there is literally no answer right now. Because here's the thing. This is why you're just dead right now. Even if you kill all these BCs, he's just going to remake them while you kill them. And he has... I don't understand how his economy is so bad either. It's because he's just not macroing. But he has not been attacked at all this entire game. You haven't even scouted his base fully yet. Like, you haven't even touched his base once yet. Every attack on this game has been on the top left side of the map. So, in theory, this guy could have literally like 7 bases right now. 8 bases right now. 9 bases right now. The better the Terran player he is, the more bases he will have if you don't kill his bases. And if that's the case, you just don't keep up with his economy anymore, and you just overall die while being on defense the entire fucking game. So... hopefully everything we talked about throughout this game makes sense. I hope it helps you. And again, go back to my stream channel or my Discord and type in !coach. The Nightbot will link you to my coaching section of my YouTube channel, and then just go watch some how to execute a Ling opener in ZvT, and it'll give you more detail on how to actually do the build properly. This game we went kind of more about theory about how to play the game and what you should be doing personally for you. But if you want to see more examples of how to do the build properly, there they are. And the last thing I'll leave you with is something I've said like 5 times already, and I'll say it one more time. If you want to have fun playing StarCraft, go for it. I don't give a shit. Do whatever makes you happy. That's totally fine. But if you're actually trying to get better at the game, just know you're doing it wrong. Because you're doing a build that is like way harder than you can handle right now. Get your macro up to par, and get some decent control of an army, like in terms of like your control groups and shit. Like get good creep spread. Like do your fundamentals of what Zerg needs first, and then try to do builds like this. Because this build is the speedling opener. To do it properly is like a fucking 8 out of 10 in terms of difficulty. And a roach build in terms of how do I show you in Beta Gym how to do that is like a fucking 2 out of 10 in terms of difficulty. It's so much easier. But yeah, anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks for doing this, SC11. I hope it helps you. I mean, obviously, I say everything out of a place of love, and I am trying to help you get better at the game. I hope, you know, I hope everyone takes it that way, and you especially, SC11. I hope you don't take offense to anything I said. But much love, guys. I will see you in the next video, whatever it might be. So good luck in your own games. Thanks for hanging out, and see you next time. Peace, guys. See ya.